to them. It's probably not the best.
Trade in the division.
Yeah, in the division. It's probably not the best. All right, hold on.
That's
now.
not the best idea. And that never comes back to bite you.
All right, what is this? It's Steelers talk. We want Browns. Does Browns have a locked on Browns? Hold on.
Yeah, every team has locked on.
All right, see what they're saying. Okay, this is 14 hours ago. Okay, here you go. They're probably happy. Breath work.
Plus up your recovery with Theragun Pro Plus.
Coming up.
Fred Greetham from the Orange and Brown Report is here to submit some predictions for Browns Dolphins this weekend. We'll do it coming up on the Locked On Browns podcast.
You are Locked On Browns, your daily Cleveland Browns podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Dog Pound? I'm Spencer German, your host of the Locked On Browns podcast, and proudly covering your Cleveland Browns each and every single day in the land and on the road. And I'm excited to have a very special Friday guest with me today, Fred Greetham from the Orange and Brown Report. He's been on the beat for a very, very long time, and I'm excited to pick his brain about a number of different things. But obviously, we'll certainly get into the Kevin Stefanski stuff. We'll look ahead to Sunday's game against the Dolphins. Some predictions, as I always like to do on Fridays. Yeah. First, though, I do want to thank you for being an everydayer at the Locked On Browns podcast, making this your first listen every single day. And remember, you can find Cleveland Browns content with Locked On Browns every week, Monday through Friday, guaranteed. Plus, obviously,
why would you want to? Okay, go further.
Well, thanks, Spencer. It's great to be with you. And
James Carville went in.
All your fans, you know.
Isn't that nice?
It's always fun to talk Browns. There's not always positive stuff to say, but there's always stuff to say.
There's never a dull moment. That's a really good way to put it. Fred, we'll start as familiar to this current regime. Stefanski still in.
They're going to be in some kind of fantasy world, right? Okay,
because I've been here since the beginning with
the Dolphins.
Yeah, I do think it would help the Browns because maybe it would force Kevin.
There benefits the Browns in that they have a low-scoring offense anyway. If they can make the Dolphins' offense a little more,
all right, let's go down
for 15% off your first.
I hear they're going to talk about
RUGIET.com promo code LOCKEDONNFL. Make sure to use the code so they know we sent you.
Nope.
All right, final segment here as Fred Greetham from Orange and Brown Report joins the show here on a Friday, a special guest to get us to close out the week and set the stage for this game on Sunday. Fred, we talked about the weather multiple times now. How much do you think it'll be a factor on Sunday? And I'll say this, I actually think the weather benefits the Browns in that they have a low-scoring offense anyway. If they can make the Dolphins' offense a little more low-scoring because that weather's a factor. And I think it also plays into what the Browns want to do on Sunday, which is run the football against a Dolphins team that is giving up a ton of yards on the ground each and every single week. But what are your sort of, as you take a look at this matchup and you think about the weather playing a role in it, you know, what's kind of the path to victory with that being thrown in for Cleveland?
I 100% agree with what you said. You know, here in Cleveland, you know, the long range for the past week has showed a nearly 100% chance of rain and wind of 25, 35 miles an hour. So that means probably Sunday it'll be sunny and 70 and calm.
What is the Browns' record?
I think the Browns have
one win, right? They're no better than the Dolphins, right?
No, I think they're either 1-5 or 2-4. They're not better than that.
They're no good. Let's see what they say.
But yeah, I do think it would help the Browns because maybe it would force Kevin Stefanski to quit throwing the ball 52 times. We complained about Joe Flacco 45 times. And then you have your rookie in Pittsburgh, a house of horrors, drop back 58 times. He threw it 52 times. He was sacked 6 times. That's a recipe for disaster.
That's right. I agree.
Agree with that.
Throw that ball.
You know, yeah. Stefanski Monday. You know, how can you not run number 10? He's arguably the brightest hope of the offense,
great
not
question,
only
Fred.
running,
It was a great question, Fred.
but receiving. They didn't even get him a ball. They threw one pass his way. You got to get him if he can't get any yards running, get him the ball out in space. All it takes is him to break a tackle and he can get 40, 50 yards. Same way running the ball. He's the type of guy, yards after the tackle, 1 yard, 38, you know? And Stefanski gave that kind of joke answer saying, well, the game was out of hand. It was 9-3 at halftime, and Judkins had 6 touches, you know?
Yeah.
How can you know, and even they get down in trouble
That's
in the pass
Miami's
blocking,
fault.
say it's much better and easier to
Seven,
run. I'd run the ball 40, 50 times instead of this 17 times, you know, and control the clock and don't put your rookie in that position, you know, and you talk about the Dolphins, they're built for speed. That Shane, he's very fast, and if it's sloppy, it's going to hard for him to get out and take off. Of course, they're without Hill. Waddle's, you know, a big threat, and that can slow him down. So I think it plays in the Browns' favor completely if it's a wet track and it's slowed down. But they're going to have to do it. I mean, it was the end of the season last year. Everybody talked about, you know, the Dolphins coming to Cleveland in late December, and they waxed the Browns last year. Obviously, the Browns were 3-14, but yeah, that's what I think. I think it's the same path this year.
Yeah,
run the ball until you are.
It could be a complete disaster because it's often been a complete disaster. And if they look like they did the last couple of weeks, like maybe not 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, maybe it's enough to win. But if they look like they did in Pittsburgh last week, if the weather really throws off what they're trying to do, then there's no guarantee that this offense scores enough points to win. But I'll say Browns win 17-14, and they still score under 20 points because I think the weather's going to keep them under 20 points. But I'll say the Browns win 17-14.
Yeah, I'm going to be consistent because I had to put mine in for the OBR. I don't remember the exact score.
Stick to your
but
guns, Fred.
I did pick the Browns because I do think that this is going to be the two teams. The Dolphins, we've seen all their locker room torn. They're either going to pull together more so than the Browns and come in unified, determined to win a game, save their coach's job, or they're not.
Yeah.
And I think the Browns will be more determined, especially at home, to find a way to win at this point. So I have the Browns going over 20 for the first time since last December, 23-17.
All right, 23-17. What say you about that, Faz?
I don't agree with that one.
Yeah, the Dolphins will win. The Dolphins have been coming close and scoring points. I think they'll put it together. I say 24-17 Dolphins.
I like what you're saying better than what they're saying.
Yeah, they're looking for – their team is awful. They're looking for a hope which the Ravens are, I guess, the same thing. Okay, now we do the Browns, I guess, right? Or did we do the Browns?
We did the Browns.
I mean, the Bengals.
Bengals can have a winning record the next 2 weeks. They got 2 very winnable games at home, I think. They could be 5-4.
Yeah, who are they? Let's see.
That's what they were saying on the game.
Okay, Locked On Bengals. Let's see what they're